One of the biggest challenges I keep hearing is that the amount of money, percentage of budget-wise, that people spend, just keeping the lights on, keeping the stuff that they've already got going, is, I mean, pull a figure out of the air, but it's anywhere 80-90% of the existing IT budget is just kept keeping the lights on, which leaves only about 10% for any kind of innovation. And most CIOs are actually more about, like, how do I help the business derive more benefit out of technology? And it's really hard to do that when only 10% of the amount of money that you've got is available for actually driving innovation. FlexPod as a platform allows you to produce infrastructure as a service, right? Which allows you to reverse that equation, certainly for the infrastructure pieces. So you're actually spending around about 10% of your time on the day-to-day management and sort of keeping the system up and going, and 90% of your budget and time and availability to divide, for putting innovative services on top of that. And that's the big thing that FlexPod really allows you to do. There's a lot of really cool technology we have for that, but that's really the meat of the solution.
So FlexPod is a solution stack designed to address business requirements. From the storage right through to the server to the virtualization layer. Now that's been available for years. The difference with FlexPod is that it's wrapped around with this validated design concept. The beauty about FlexPod is that it isn't a pre-built stack. It's not a single part number that you buy. It's still the individual components which are all required to achieve, to run these applications and these services. But that can be from the entry-level switch and storage array right through to enterprise class that scales to whatever. And that's the beauty about FlexPod. It isn't a fixed configuration, and it can start at a very, very small level. But the good part is that you can scale and you can grow too.
So the customers came to us and said, look, the ones that I spoke to certainly said it takes us months, before we can actually, when we get a request for, whatever it may be, it takes us months to actually go and turn that into a piece of work, the right hardware, even if they've got the hardware, the right amount of people, resources, everything to put this thing together. And it's just not a model that can work for them so well. So I think what FlexPod did really well was say, right, this is already there. You don't have to go out and completely architect a whole system to determine that 6-month piece of work that you need to do, or that environment you need to stand up for a period of time, has to be done. It's just all that hard work was already done, sort of thing. So the cost saving of doing that was just astronomical once they started to add up how much they were losing by doing it that way. So
it gets back to what I said earlier. It's about the role of IT is to enable a business. There was a recent CIO survey that I was reading where the outcome of it was that the general feeling was that CIOs just want to be able to safely, simply and confidently say to their business, yes. So when you've got all this complexity and this different choice, you know what your outcome's going to be, or needs to be, but how do you know what your infrastructure is going to provide? That essentially is where FlexPod really comes into its own, because it's pre-validated, it's pre-tested, there's configuration guides for it. You know that if you deploy this infrastructure, this is the performance benchmark you'll get, this is the load you can put on it, and this is the result you'll have.
These designs are fantastic, right? But the thing is, how do you know this design is going to suit you? It's a cookie cutter template. How do you know that's going to suit you? And the only answer I can say is I can guarantee it doesn't suit you perfectly, right? It's kind of like, a watch. The only thing you can guarantee is that, at the time is wrong. This is the reason why channel partners, people like Bridgepoint, are so important, because they are the people who spend the time, they already understand these designs, they understand the technology intimately, right? Their job is to understand your problem as intimately as they understand the designs, and figure out where the things need to be flexed, and how that can be supported, and how they can provide that level of service to you to make sure. It's kind of like getting a ready-to-measure suit, right? What happens, these guys, the tailors, then take that and then pinch it in where it needs to be pinched in, let it out where it needs to be let out, and make sure that you're walking down the street with something that really does match you perfectly. And that's the reason why we have them.
So we've invested quite heavily in it from our people point of view, right? Our people is the key thing for our organisation, is our consultants. We've done it, we've trained up on it, we've got the experience on it. And we can take that experience where we've applied it in some cases and apply it to a number of different industries and different applications, and using that experience working with our customers. So we like it, it suits us, we see lots of great potential for it.